to a new episode of Books and Beyond from the Winter Park Library, recorded live in the recording studio at the library in beautiful Winter Park, Florida. In Books and Beyond, we have conversations with writers, musicians, artists, presenters, and other contributors. Most of our guests have appeared live at the Winter Park Library or will be presenting soon. We hope you'll subscribe to the Books and Beyond podcast and that you'll stay up to date with library goings-on at winterparklibrary.org/events. That's winterparklibrary.org/events. I'm Michael Werner, and I'll be your host for our interviews. Enjoy the show. Hello out there, library patrons, readers, and smart people everywhere. Welcome to the Books and Beyond podcast. This is Michael Werner, your host. We are coming to you live right now. Well, live if you're listening to it at the moment. We're coming to you from the Winter Park Library, and we're in the Writer's Block Bookstore recording studio here at the library. And so I take great pride in the fact that we have a guest today with us who is the owner of the Writer's Block Bookstore in downtown Winter Park, Lauren Zimmerman. Hey, Lauren.
Hi, nice to meet you, and thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, glad to have you here. Everybody that's listening to this, we all love books. That's why we're here. And I think every book lover has wanted to do one of two things, or maybe both. They want to write a book, right? And they want to own a bookstore. As crazy as that may be, and you're going to tell us a little bit about that in a little bit. Before we get to your bookstore world, first of all, I'd like to thank you for sponsoring this room. It's been very nice to have it here. I know a lot of people really appreciate having this room here, this recording studio here in the library. Let's talk a little bit about your background, because you didn't come from the book world before your bookstore. I think you started off as in architecture school?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Are you from Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, raised in Maryland, moved here when I was 17, came straight to FTU. So I've been in Orlando since I've lived in Florida since 1975.
Okay. And FTU is?
UCF was FTU.
Which was Florida Technology University?
Florida Technological University. And when I went there were 6,000 students.
Okay, and now there are 50,000 maybe.
No, they're like one of the largest in the country right now.
Yeah.
I mean, when I drive there, I get lost. I mean, when I go there, I don't recognize any buildings.
I'm sure. So you started off as an architecture student.
No, I started off in the pre-law program at FTU.
Okay.
And then I switched to University of Florida. I transferred to University of Florida and to get the architecture degree. I always thought I was going to do construction litigation. I thought I was going to tie the two together. What happened is that when I ended up graduating and working, I ended up liking it and getting jobs. So the whole law school thing kind of went on the back burner because I was actually enjoying my career a lot. I did all kinds of stuff, space planning. I did jails for a couple years with Keith, with the Architects Design Group right here. The irony is that that Architects Design Group, my office, was right above Briar Patch. So I've gone full circle. I have literally gone full circle.
Wow.
So I did jails, then I did office buildings. I worked for an architectural firm that did the Orlando Magic's skyboxes originally, and I was there for opening night, cleaning, all hands on deck. Everybody that worked on the job had to go and clean the day before the Orlando Magic's opening night.
The original opening
I saw them.
1989
I saw
or
them,
something, right?
It was a big deal, the scorecard thing going up. I mean, that was huge for everybody, and I was there when it happened. And so I did that. And then in 92, there was the recession. And at that time, 90% of my clients were in the S&L world. The original owners for the Orlando Magic were bankers in S&Ls, and that collapsed.
Savings and loans.
Yeah, the S&Ls, it collapsed in 92.
Yeah.
And it affected Florida a lot. And so at that point, I was at the height of my job with a large architectural firm, and I thought, I've seen 3 recessions. I've been through them. I'll just go to law school. These recessions only last like 2 or 3 years. What am I going to do with myself?
You've been in architecture at that time.
12, 15 years. 12
quite a while. Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't. I knew how to behave during a recession. I used to just leave the large firm and then go on my own and just do enough to to do the work, and then like I've had so many companies. One was called Spaces Inc. Then you're on your own, and then you get work, and then when the market gets better, the larger firms kind of bring you on board, and now you're working for them. So that's kind of how it works in this recession world that I used to be in. I don't know if it's what it's like now. Mm-hmm. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go to law school. So it made perfect sense to me at the time. And then I graduated, and the funny thing is that 6 months later, I met my husband. This is the best part of the story. 6 months later, I was single. Everybody thought I was crazy, and I said, what's 3 years in the life of a human being? Right. I love to read, okay? I love reading.
Right.
So 6 months out, I met my husband, and we got married right away, and I was 38 at the time.
This is after law school or during law school?
This was after, 6 months after. Okay. I was 38 at the time. I meet my husband. We decide that we're going to just rapid fire have kids. I have 3 girls, and 2 of them were, I had 3 under 3. 2 of them were born within 7 months of each other because we adopted and did fertility. Wow. That I feel like is my greatest accomplishment, that I was at the age of 40, I had 3 girls.
Wow.
So that changed my trajectory in my life. I just finished law school. I got married. I had these 3 kids. I was staying at home. So I was doing dependency work because you could pick and choose what you want. You just show up to the courthouse for the arraignments for dependency. I don't know if you're familiar with that. What does that mean? No. Dependency is child welfare. Like if someone removes a child from a home based on neglect and, foster care system, that whole thing. And that's where I have the love of that's where my love of giving comes from, because I worked in that world for about 8-9 years because I was able to raise my children and do that at the same time.
So you're representing the children, or
I represented the parents who had lost the child. So they're allowed. We're not. It's a constitutional right that due process cannot take away property without due process. Well, children and family are considered property. I'm not going to come and take your child without due process. So the state did that, and then we had to work with the families to try to reunite the children with the families.
Okay.
And so that I did that for a really long time, and I was able to manage it with my raising my family because I could turn down work. I didn't have to, that was a community also. I knew all the judges and the attorneys. It was really a great. I love the whole dependency. I could go on and on. I've supported Foundation for Foster Care because it's the one place in the legal world where you're on both sides are on the same side. Both sides their interest is the child.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
And so I really
like. So it's not really
it.
Adversarial.
No, because it's all about the children.
Yeah.
I mean, the judge sits there in the courtroom and says it's all about the children. I mean, I love that. So then I decided my kids were getting older, and I decided that I didn't want to stick with all that. I was starting to feel the pain of everything. My white bread world. I'd come home to my white bread world, right? And so I was trying to think of something else to do at the time. And so I was listening. I told this child. I was listening to, it's like the best excuse I have. I was listening to Fresh Air, heard Ann Patchett talk about her store. And I thought, okay, all right. Because Orlando hadn't had an indie bookstore for over 20 years. Barnes & Noble was gone. There were 2... Not Barnes & Noble. Borders was gone.
Yeah.
There were 2 Barnes & Noble in the whole area. A couple of those had shut down. There was literally everybody was buying their books on Amazon at this point.
I remember when I first moved to Winter Park, it was 1986. There was a bookstore on Park Avenue.
Little Professor.
Was that little? Then it became independent. Somebody.
It changed names a million times.
Yeah, okay. It was on South Park Avenue.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and when I first opened up the bookstore, I ended up not being on Park Avenue. I ended up going on a side street because I could afford it. It was half the price of Park Avenue.
Yeah.
And people used to walk in every day and say, "Oh, I mourn the day the Little Professor shut down." And this is 2014. Okay.
Yeah. When you first
Yes.
started the writer's block, yeah.
And you're talking about the 80s. So I come home and I said to my husband, I said, 4 times a day these people come in and say, oh, I mourn the day that. And then the owner, the grandchildren and the family of little professors now comes in the store. And it's like, so then my husband says, well, when did it close down? I said, in the 80s. And it's like, okay, there's Winter Park for you.
Right.
Because I knew that. I knew that people were mourning the day that it closed down. I mean, I was one of those people. And so I put one foot in. This is the part where I can't tell you how it all came together. I can't tell you. I baked a cake, and I don't know. There were ingredients that have to go into this cake, and I also can't tell you what ingredients I had a say in and what ingredients the world had in it, or God, or wherever you want to put it. But
Right.
for the idea of Central Florida growing, that was not happening in the early 2000s. Now it's growing leaps and bounds. The community is changing. Central Florida is changing. The demographics is changing. Everything's changing. People are moving here from other states wanting a bookstore because they're used to having them in their own hometown up north or in California or Midwest is huge. People for bookstores. They got because what else can they do? Bookstores. But the people come here and they want bookstores. And I didn't have anything to do with that. I did not put that ingredient into the cake. And so I always felt like when people ask me, how did I do it? My answer has always been, I just put one foot in front of the other.
So when you started, Lauren, when you started the bookstore on that side street off of Park Avenue, were you running it by yourself? Or you have employees? Or?
Yeah, I was by myself. It was, every once in a while I wish those days. Yeah, I was by myself. I was chief cook and bottle washer, did the whole thing. I was there all the time.
And was it new books, used books, both?
All new.
All new, okay.
All new. I was an indie bookstore tourist. I knew the ins and outs of indie bookstores. I had been to half the country. When we would vacation, I would go to an indie bookstore. It was just what I did.
Yeah.
And it was fun. And you got to walk around and see everything. And every bookstore was so different from each other. None of them looked the same. Some of them were beat up. Some were brand new. I mean, it was just, even when I went to Europe, I'm in the middle of bookstores. I went to China. I went to bookstores. This is all before I even opened the bookstore.
Yeah.
So
you're kind of a bookstore geek.
I'm 100% indie. Like it's like in my blood. And I defend indie bookstores all day long. With publishers and with the community, because we do have a fight coming from everywhere. The book banning, Amazon, it's just indie bookstores are, in my opinion, if I'm going to, get on my soapbox and grandstand for indie bookstores, is they're doing God's work and they're fighting the good fight.
Yeah. Well, I think they have a lot in common with libraries.
Libraries
Yeah.
they're doing the good work.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing the work, and because if we don't have literacy, and also this brings me back to my dependency days and banned books. So I look at it from way different perspective when I think about the access to reading. So it makes me cry thinking about it because of my background in dependency. I know who's getting hurt.
So what do you think, not just your store specifically, but independent bookstores, what do they offer the community that the big A doesn't, that Amazon doesn't? Yeah, everybody thinks a book, I'll call up or sign on to Amazon and get my book.
Huge things, big difference. We're community partners with everybody, including the library, and we are true partners on both sides. They do things for us, and we do things for them. It's not all of the partnerships I have with the community are not one-sided. We help each other all day long, and we don't expect anything from each other. We just help each other because we're all doing the good fight, right?
Right.
Amazon can't do that. We do large-scale events. In the middle of COVID, we had the guy that wrote The Notebook.
Nicholas Sparks?
Yeah, 500 people on Park Avenue.
Wow.
During COVID for a signing, masked, 6 feet apart.
Wow. In the store or out in the park?
In the store.
Wow, my goodness.
So what did we bring to the community that day? Because they had to buy tickets because we couldn't have all 500 there at the same time, so we blocked it out, and so that meant that for that whole entire day, people were on the avenue waiting to go to our store to get their book signed, because they were told that you will not be allowed to. You have to come at the slot that you paid for, or else you can't come, because we're just trying. It's COVID, and we're just trying to move it safely.
Yeah.
We do. We for the Winter Park Library, since we've started, we have incredible partnerships with them. We've brought in big authors. When we were in the old building, one of the very, very first big authors that I brought was Brad Meltzer to the Winter Park Library, and I was like in my second year, and it was like I called the library. And
I know that name. Is he a mystery?
He's a big mystery writer.
Yeah.
And so we brought him in. That was very exciting. I didn't have to partner with anybody. We're constantly looking for authors to come in. One of the other things that the bookstore, the community does is we're very involved in initiatives to help the community, like being involved in the new Central Florida, the new Florida Children's Book Festival that's coming in February 2026. I've helped with festivals here. We just support the community all day long.
Right.
I mean, I could list 20 associations that we are heavily involved with in one way or another, whether it's a preschool that we donate books to, all the way to a senior program on how to deal with aging parents. We're here for the community.
Lauren, it sounds like you're on a mission, and I like it.
Yeah, it felt like it. Yeah, it feels like it sometimes.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I know you have lots of events here at the Winter Park Library.
Yeah. This is one of our big
events
partners.
with the library. Yeah.
And the relationship I have with Winter Park is, I have it with everybody. I have it with like the same one with Mead Gardens. Like we're in constant contact. We work really well together. As I was walking through the door today, I thought to myself, they need to get gifts in for Christmas. I need to tell somebody to get gifts in their. So that's my competition. And here I am telling them to go get gifts in the bookstore for Christmas. It's just that it all comes back. It just all comes back.
Yeah.
You're right. It's a passion. It's a love. A love of reading, the arts. I think one of the draws is, like you were talking about, intelligent people. I'm very drawn towards learning, whatever that might be.
Obviously, I mean, you've had this portfolio career, really.
There was nothing but learning all day long.
Yeah.
And I'm learning how to run a book. I've never had a retail business before. I've never worked with the staff before. It's always just been me managing. Other, architects and lawyers can manage. They're in teams, but they have very well-defined specific responsibilities to get a building like this to not fall down.
Right.
And so I was used to working on long-scale schedules, both for law, So it was a whole new thing for me, retail. Whole new thing for me.
Well, I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine.
And so that's been very.
What's your biggest surprise in having running a retail store?
Oh my God!
Or some of your biggest surprises?
Be careful about what you wish for.
Okay.
I'm surprised. I'm always surprised at where this store went from the time that I thought of it.
Sure.
I am always surprised with everything that happens in the bookstore. And, events or meeting people or getting a call from Charlie Gibson or getting a call from you. I mean, it doesn't end. It's just like you were saying before, people wish to own a bookstore.
Yeah. At the end of the day, though, it's a business, right? So
yeah, at the end of the day, it's a business.
You deal with the same problems
it's
that
hard.
any business
it's really
owner
hard.
deals with. Yeah. Employees.
All of it.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
I will say I took a class on how to open a bookstore.
Okay. I didn't know there was such a class.
If you can believe it, it's put on by the American Bookstores Association.
Okay.
Again, about the
it's live or it's online or
no, it's live. It's live. Maybe now after COVID they might do it live, but it was in Amelia Island just out of coincidence.
Interesting.
But I was the only.
They have a great bookstore up there.
I know.
Sorry.
But I was the only Floridian there. Everybody else was from all over because that's where they live. So that's where they had the class. So I was there for 40. I thought, okay, here's what we could here's what's going to happen. I'm either going to have 5 days in Amelia Island without my children and my husband,
Yeah.
enjoying this wonderful community and just hanging out.
Yeah, cool.
Or I leave wanting to open a bookstore. Those are the two things that could happen here.
So this was how much?
It was that was in 2014.
Oh, so it was the year you opened the bookstore.
Yeah, I mean, because because I'm a learner. When I found out about it, right, it's like going to law school. Okay, here I go. I wanted to learn from other people. I didn't want to just learn on my own.
Do you know, by the way, I got to ask you this while it just popped in my head. John Grisham's, some of his more recent books have been about a bookstore. Is that based around that Amelia Island? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Do you know what books? It's called
No.
Camino Island or something.
Oh, I know Amino Island. Yeah, I don't know where
I
that
think
takes
it
place.
just sounds like that. It sounds like Fernandina Beach in that bookstore.
I bet I'll have to look at it and think
Okay,
about that.
yeah,
I've been
sorry.
there. They have the music and the cafe and
Yeah, it's nice.
they've
nice
done a
area.
really good job.
Yeah.
So when I was talking to her, who runs it, Donna Paz, I said that run the class
Oh, the
and
class,
also
okay.
own the bookstore. And it's one and the same. They hadn't had the bookstore when I took the class. They just opened the bookstore like a couple of years ago. But,
Okay.
I said to her, "Am I nuts?" I mean, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, here I am with 3 degrees. I didn't even talk about the social work degree.
No.
I mean,
What happened with that?
that was when I decided not to use it and open a bookstore.
You just got the degree and then decided I'm going to open a bookstore. Yeah.
Yes.
So you didn't do social work. Well, you've kind of
I did it
all
as
your
a
stuff is
lawyer
kinda,
for 9 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about the children. At the end of the day, it's always about the children.
Yeah.
They are our future. So
That sounds like a song.
I know. I
Yeah, for the
know.
future.
Well, I'm about to quote Frederick Douglass, but I'm not going to go that far. And so I said to her, I said, "Am I nuts?" And she said, "Well, you're definitely a Renaissance person, Renaissance woman, Renaissance human. And maybe all of those things that you've learned throughout your life might benefit you as a bookseller, because maybe one day you'll have someone to come in that has an autistic child, or maybe you'll come in one day that wants to understand art in Europe, or maybe one day they'll come in and all of a sudden you're in the middle of the store giving legal advice to somebody. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And she said, maybe that would work for you. And that was what she said to me. And I don't know if that's true. I've held on to that. I don't know why I did it, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
But here you are.
But here I am.
Yeah. Whoa, Lauren, what does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what that means. That means it's time for rapid fire Q&A. It means that we get a chance to get to know a little bit about you as a person. Yes?
Can I say one more thing?
Please, one more
Answering
thing.
the last question
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
saying when I said,
Yeah.
I really don't know why I did it. I believe that there was a higher power that God has guided me through this whole thing.
Okay.
And that's why I said it. I didn't want to think that I'm just that. I've always had that faith. So that's why I always answer the question that way.
Okay. That's a wonderful background on that. Okay, rapid fire Q&A. I'm going to ask you some questions. Don't answer them if you don't want to, but we'll just keep. We got 8 or 9 questions for you. Okay. Most of them don't have anything to do with books.
Oh.
Okay. What's something they don't teach in school but should?
Conflict management.
Okay. And you deal with that a bit, I guess, with employees.
My whole life.
What's your favorite meal?
Breakfast.
Is there some place you have on your must-see list that you haven't been?
Absolutely. Japan.
Japan. Okay. Do you have any plans to go?
Working on it.
Who's your favorite nonfiction author? Do you have a favorite nonfiction author?
I mean, I could talk about, I cannot pronounce his last name, but I'm reading one of his books right now, the Mark Twain, Chenoff, who wrote Hamilton.
Yeah.
He's a favorite of mine, and I'm really enjoying Mark Twain.
Yeah.
What I like about his books is that they're flawed. The characters are flawed.
Yeah.
And I like that about nonfiction. I like learning those type of things about people.
Uh-huh. I'm listening to the audiobook version of that right
That's
now,
what
too.
yeah, that's what I was doing because it's just like 800 pages. I can't, I mean,
I think it's like 40 hours.
I mean,
The audiobook is
that's why
like
I got
40
the audio. I
hours.
thought let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Okay, this is a tough one for you
Uh-huh.
because you've done a lot of these things already. My question was going to be, if you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you be doing? But excluding all the things you've done, what's another career that you might like to tackle at some point?
Write a cookbook.
Write a cookbook. Okay, are you working on one?
No,
No.
no, I'll be stoned by my husband and family.
What advice would you give to your 20-year-old
Self.
Self, yeah, yeah.
Oh wow, that's a really good question. Everything will be okay.
Okay. Do you have favorite authors, fiction authors?
Of course.
Well,
fiction.
fiction now. Fiction.
Of course, Ann Patchett, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And
I do.
Where's her? She's in Nashville.
In Nashville, and she's a favorite not because she's a great writer. She's a favorite because I listened to her podcast that day that changed my life. But the others, Kristen Harmel, who's from Orlando, I adore her.
I don't know that author.
She's with Friends in Fiction now. She's now a New York Times bestselling author. She's from Orlando. I feel like we grew up together.
What is her name?
Kristen Harmel. I did a launch for her like 2 months after I opened, and she was not a New York Times bestselling author then. And I feel like the two of us have really grown together, and I love her books and I support her. Marie Benedict is one that I'm trying to get right now. So if you're hearing this, Marie, and she writes historical fiction as well, but she showcases women in history that have not been, they're unsung heroes.
Uh-huh.
I just like everything. I like translations. I am very ambidextrous when it comes to reading. And then maybe that's what makes me a good bookseller. Like the only thing that I kind of stray away from is science fiction and fantasy because I'm just too old.
It's like an addiction, though, isn't it? I mean, reading. It's
Yeah.
and you're around it. I mean, it's like you're an alcoholic working in a bar. You're the bookaholic working in a bookstore.
I'm a shopaholic working in a bookstore.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm because I would go shopping for books. The real book lover buys 4 and reads 2.
Yeah.
But they don't admit that in public.
Yeah.
And so I've always been a book lover. I've always, and I consider that to be a shopaholic. I consider that I would go into bookstores. It was very impulsive. I would read the back of the book, and I'd say, "Oh, this is really interesting. I have to have it." Then I'd find a tote, or I'd find a journal, or whatever. Now I'm looking at it from a completely different way. I don't look at it as a shopaholic anymore. And
You mean because it's your job?
because now it's a job, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to go back to being a shopaholic in bookstores.
Last question for you. Back to food now. If this item was incredibly nutritious and it had 0 calories, what would you like to have every day?
Gyros.
Okay. Okay, let's go back to bookstores and your life with books. You mentioned something about the Children's Festival. Tell us a little bit more about that. What's going on with that?
Thank you for asking about that. I'm really excited. So we partnered, my foundation, the same one that's supporting the recording studio foundation, and also Orlando Family Stage and the bookstore are heavily working on creating the Florida Children's Book Festival in Lock Haven Park. Okay. And it will be the only children's books festival in all of the state. There's many around us, but none of them are just exclusively only for children.
Okay.
And so we're very, very excited about it. It's our first year. We had a meeting this morning about the website being live, so now I can forward it to all the publishers. So I'm really excited about that. We're going to have activities at Lock Haven Park. It's gorgeous. There's the opportunity in the future to do festivals in the park, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful location. Orlando Family Stage is an incredible partner. I just love working with them, and I think they're very committed to this. And the publishers are showing a lot of interest. And I think that this would be something that we would bring into one more thing to bring into this growing community in Central Florida. We've got the Bright Line now.
Mm-hmm.
So we can reach people all over the state because of our location. Again, that I didn't put that ingredient in the cake.
Right,
that ingredient was already there.
Right.
But I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to I know it's going to be a home run. I know that the Central Florida is going to love it and be so happy, and the authors are going to be happy. Orlando Family Stage will be happy. I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to seeing that legacy. And I may not see it for a couple of years.
Sure.
But
so the hope is to have it annual.
Oh yeah. No, it's going to be annual.
Okay.
This is our first inaugural.
Okay.
And the library knows about it. They want to get involved. I think it's just going to be great.
And anybody who's listening to this, Lauren, if they're not familiar with Central Florida or Orlando, that park is, first off, it's a beautiful park, but it's surrounded by museums and theaters. So it's a wonderful location for that festival. And it's outdoors in February in Florida. What's better than that, huh?
I know. And, and I could see the future. Like I'm, as you've probably noticed, I'm a very creative person. So I see way far out there, and I see things happening. I don't know how much is going to happen in the actual physical park this year. We're just starting. We're still learning.
Sure. But
my vision is seeing things in the center of the park. Seeing booths, seeing even other bookstores can have a booth, or publishers, the way they do it in Miami and all the other bookstores and book festivals, the way they do it in Brooklyn and everywhere where they have, a whole where there's activities and things to do for a whole weekend. There's STEM, the whole STEM thing with the Orlando Science Center, and then the art. I mean, I think the sky is the limit on what Lock Haven Park can offer this children's book festival.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. And you have a specific date for it yet, or you don't?
Yeah, there is a date, and I wish I knew it.
So how do we keep tabs on it? Is it through your bookstore?
No, yes, but I believe it's the third week of February. I don't think it's in the beginning, since the website has gone live, I was told this morning.
Okay.
Go to Orlando Family Stage website, and they will have a link to their book festival.
Orlando Stage website. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're the ones that are producing it.
And I haven't even asked you, Lauren, or I haven't even reminded people here if they don't know, your bookshop is in right downtown Winter Park, right on Park Avenue, basically across from the park, right? It's been. When did you move to that location?
Used to be BC meant something else, but now it means something else. Now it means something different. Before COVID, it was right before COVID.
Okay. And I think you recently expanded, right? Or you
and
moved
then
upstairs
then we
or?
did then we expanded to the second floor. That was 2 years ago. This will be our third Christmas with the second floor.
And is upstairs, is that children's or?
All children, nothing but children.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing a big bus in the middle of Winter Park. I'm not familiar with children's authors as well as I am with adult authors, but they're bringing a bus with them, and a tire bus that's dressed like a Santa Claus ugly sweater.
Okay.
And there's an author that she's famous and an illustrator, and we've gotten with the city, and they're going to let us put her big bus that has a huge ugly sweater bus on it for children. And
when is that? What is that?
Christmas sometime.
Okay.
It's all part of the festivities. So
Okay.
It was like we reached out to the city, and they're excited, and so I don't know why I'm mentioning that, but
well, we're talking about children and
so
books,
yeah, so we're there's a lot of I don't think we could. We have a wonderful children's section. We support children's authors. They know about the section, and that's why they want to come.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you have a branch in Winter Garden?
Yes.
Yeah. When did you start that?
Again, COVID.
Okay.
That was an interesting story. I got a call from the city of Winter Garden saying, will you come open up a bookstore now? We have the space for you, and we'll give you a grant from the city to build it in the middle of COVID.
Uh-huh.
And so being the person that I am, maybe I'm just a curious person. Maybe that's it. Maybe curiosity is what brings literacy to all of us, because I'm sure it was just sheer curiosity when I met with them.
Right,
and
right.
Put one foot in front of the other. There's some sort of force that's working with me.
Uh-huh.
And we opened it, and they love it. The community is so happy.
And it's the only bookstore there. I'm guessing, yeah.
There was a petition filed by the city residents asking them to bring an indie bookstore to Plant Street. It had 8,000 people sign the petition.
Wow, 8,000.
That's what they told me.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's amazing and wonderful.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so here I am. I'm Michael. My lifelong dream is to open a bookstore. It's probably not going to happen now. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to open a bookstore?
Well, one of the very first things that I did, and I always tell this to people, is get involved in your community immediately. Go out and find partners. That's what I did when I had the little store on the avenue. I didn't have the space available for events or anything like that. I needed partners to spread the word that I existed.
And how did you even know that? I mean, you don't have a business
I don't know
background.
Why I knew
mean,
that.
it just.
Well, by the time I was done with architecture, my sole job was marketing.
Okay.
So, but when you're marketing, you got to tell them what they want. Like you're saying, oh, and it's going to be beautiful, and this is and sign here, and then, and so it's very similar. Today is the same thing. I would go to, if you were to interview, probably Ruth would be the one that was still here when I reached out to them. If you would interview her about her first meeting with me, I just sat down and said, let's be partners. I'm going to start bringing in authors. I've got one now. Can we do it late? Can we do it next week? It was like I hit the road running with all of these partners, and I would in schools. It's a little harder now because it's harder to get into schools with the privacy issues of families
okay.
But back in the day, I could just walk into a media specialist's office and just introduce myself. Back in the day, but you can still get to schools. I mean, there's still a way, and I just think reaching out to the community, and just as difficult as it is, hard to believe, but I'm a shy, introverted person as well. You've got to put yourself out there and just meet these people and make offers and come up with ideas. Like with Orlando Family Stage, I said, "Hey, I got an idea," and they all love the ideas. With I reached out to Mead Gardens, and now I support their camp. Because again, we're all about children.
Yeah.
So I went to Mead and I said, okay, let's be partners. What do you need? And they give us the space for free for our events, and it holds 200-something people. And we just did the Happy Wife at Mead Gardens, and they were thrilled.
What was that?
Is it Happy? It's Happy Wife, right? It's a book that just came out. It just came out of the blue, out of nowhere, and it's a story that takes place in Winter Park. It's sort of like The Help meets Women Who Lunch. I don't know, but
okay.
It's not mean like The Help, but but there was a lot of landmarks and stuff. So when everybody got wind of this book, everybody's freaking out. They want to bring the authors in because so we reached out to me. I mean, we pulled it off in 2-3 weeks. The library pulled it off. Everybody pulled it off. They called me and said, the library wants to do it too. Do you feel like that's a conflict of interest? I said, absolutely not. And I said, I'll start helping them. If they need help, I'll start promoting the library to get the numbers if that's what they need. And then they said, no, but it's already sold out at the library, so I didn't need to help them. And, those things happen. But it wouldn't be without the relationships. It would not.
Right.
If I didn't have those relationships intact at the moment, I couldn't have pulled it off. I couldn't have made 4 phone calls because I already know.
But at the beginning, you didn't have those. I mean, when you first started the shop,
I didn't have any of it. But I was building relationships at the time, and so 11 years later, I'm still building those relationships,
right.
And I trust them and I hold them dear. So if I would give that advice to anybody, just hold on, make those relationships, hold on to them. And put one foot in front of the other, and every day do the best you can.
Mm-hmm. For points of comparison, how many when you first started your bookstore on the side street, how many titles did you have, maybe?
Oh my goodness, that's a really good question.
And compared to now.
Well, I will say it went from 1,200 square feet to almost 5,000 square feet.
Okay, so 3-4 times the number of
Yeah,
titles,
I
probably.
mean, there's one whole floor. Like it was half of it doubled when I moved to Park Avenue, and then we did the second floor, so it was just under tripling, just around there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you got Winter Garden that is now larger than the store was in Winter Park. So that store is larger. That store is 1,800 square feet.
Okay, and where in Winter Garden is the?
It's on Plant Street.
Okay, okay. Is that the pedestrian? Is that pedestrian?
Yeah, it's there, Park Avenue.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I've been there, but it's been quite a while.
Anybody
Yeah.
listening that's from Winter Garden, I just apologize for making that comparison. I know you're wonderful, and
Well, you could say Park Avenue here in Winter Park is like Winter Gardens.
that's
Plant
right.
Street.
Park Avenue here in Winter Park is just like Winter Garden.
Any stories you want to share with us before we're about ready to finish up here? But any stories you'd like to share with us about the bookstore world that maybe other people don't know?
So, selfless plug.
Oh, please.
So fourth quarter for the bookstore is our busiest time. We make 70% of our business
Really?
in the fourth
Christmas
quarter
related?
because of Christmas, and because we're on Park Avenue again. The ingredient in the cake, right?
Yeah.
So everybody goes to Winter Park to shop for Christmas. Some people only come once a year to shop for Christmas.
Yeah.
So anybody that's a reader, I just finished spending 3 weeks. I was in Atlanta. I have completely curated. That store is gorgeous with gifts and books, and we're ready for Christmas. My goal was to have everything out by October 1. 80% of the stuff is out. Shop for us during Christmas, even if you're not a book lover. We've got some gorgeous gifts that and by doing that, the community is supporting the bookstore and allowing us to continue. A lot of people read on the Kindle. A lot of people, only check out books. So in order to keep us vibrant, those same people that read on the Kindle and check out books here in Winter Park can come to our store and buy their gifts.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the things that are gifts besides books in the store?
Like reading stuff. Like we've got a lot of journals. I bought a lot of things that are like those items that what can you buy someone who has everything?
Mm-hmm.
There's one that's like a box of different flavors of honey. I mean, there's just really cute and adorable things. Just bookends and just trivets. We're going to be doing a big ornament this year. We're going to be going crazy with the ornaments, and they're going out in the next 2 weeks. So ornaments will be for sale before November, and some of them are all book related, all Winter Park related. They're just really fun and funky, and so there's a lot of things that you buy in a bookstore that coloring books, children's toys. There's the self-help books. There's the astrology or the fun stuff that you can just kind of. Then there's always the art books that you just pick up, or the travel books. I want to. Here's a great gift. Here's a travel book. Mm-hmm. There's plenty. There's plenty.
Do you have any special events that are happening in the season?
Yeah,
we related?
we got a lot going on in October, and then the beginning of November, David Sedaris is going to be at the Dr. Phillips, and we have one. That's one of my relationships. I went straight to Dr. Phillips, and the gentleman who is now running programming was one of the first people I met. He left during COVID and then came back. So I've had this ongoing relationship with Dr. Phillips now for 11 years. And it is an incredible. It's a wonderful.
The Performing Arts Center downtown.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we with Winter Park Institute, which I was, very involved in. We're doing events there. We had a couple of events there with them. It's hard, we've got about 3 or 4. We've got a lot in October. Mm-hmm. Things will, after David Sedaris, things will start to slow down because now we are getting into the season. Mm-hmm. And there, parking is always an issue, and shopping and money, and where are you going to put your money? And
right.
And so, but October is full. David Sedaris, I heard, was almost, they're like, they will sell out. And it's such a joy to be doing that and working with them all these years.
That's
and
wonderful.
Having a really great relationship with them. I think something's coming up. Randy Rainbow is going to be at Hard Rock, And they
Okay.
called us, and I like lost my cookies because I love Randy Rabo. Have you heard of it? Have you ever seen his stuff? He is so funny.
No, okay.
He's got a gorgeous voice, and he takes the Broadway shows and he rewrites the music to political satire.
Okay. Is it singing or?
But he does it on a video, so he's all
Okay. Yeah,
he's very dramatic, very animated,
Uh-huh.
and you should look him up. He's funny as all get out, and he's going to be there. And they reached out to us, and I went, oh my God, I love him.
I got to ask you, and I should have asked you this earlier because we're getting ready to end here. Before we started the episode today, you had mentioned that you just had a phone call from Charlie Gibson and his podcast. Remind everybody who Charlie Gibson is and then how that came about.
Yeah, so Charlie Gibson, I got a phone call. I saw the message. I see his name on the paper. Charlie Gibson was with ABC News. He's since retired because I'm going way back and remembering him, and he did a lot. Like I was telling my husband last night, I think he even did some of those couple of the crime shows that the networks do. The ones that are the
true crime.
Yeah, those. But he's been around a long time. I remember him, and so he called, and I went, "Oh my God, is this the Charlie Gibson?" And he goes, "Yes," and so he invited me to speak on his podcast, and we did it yesterday afternoon, and that was pretty fun.
So, and the name of that podcast, I believe, is Bookcase.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody who's listening to this wants to look for that, we're not sure when it's going to be available, but if you look on Bookcase, and it's a great podcast anyway. I enjoy the show, so you might want to subscribe to that podcast.
Yeah.
You'll get to listen more.
Yeah, and I was a little bit more animated than I am today, and it was fun. I kind of got into the fun of it and cracked a bunch of jokes and made them laugh, and so it was fun.
Lauren, it's been great having you here.
Thank
I hope you'll come back again and talk to us. If we want to find out about all the events and everything that's going on at your bookshop, what is your website?
www.writersblockbookstore.com.
writersblockbookstore.com.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, for those of you who are interested in events here at the library, you can go to winterparklibrary.org/events. And some of Lauren's events do take place here at the library, but then you'll also see all kinds of other events that happen here in the library. And there's over... Gosh, I love it. I call this place Winter Park University because there's so much that goes on.
No, I agree. I look at the calendar and I think I can't wait to retire so I can go to some of these things.
You don't seem like the person that's going to ever retire.
They say that, but listen, let's have this conversation in about 6 months.
Okay, all right, let's do that.
The store will always be there. I am trying to slow down a little bit so I can read more.
Yeah.
But so when I slow down, when my bucket list slowing down is going to all the great activities that they have here at the library. That's on my bucket list.
Yeah, it's a great place.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Lauren, and we'll talk again. I hope so.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Books and Beyond from the Winter Park Library. This podcast would not be possible without the generous help and support from the library staff, and especially from Jeremy Zorn. Jeremy's official title is Public Services Librarian, but he does many things here at the library, including producing this podcast. We can't do this without you, Jeremy. Our theme music is from the song Don't Go by Bovine Joe and the Buffalo Herd. That's Herd spelled H-E-A-R-D. We hope you'll let your friends and others know about this podcast and that you'll come by the library for one of our offerings, which you can find at winterparklibrary.org/events. That's winterparklibrary.org/events. If you have questions or suggestions for the podcast or just want to talk about Books and Beyond, please send an email to podcast@winterparklibrary.org. That's an email to podcast@winterparklibrary.org. Remember that the Winter Park Library promotes the free and open exchange of ideas and does not attempt to control or take responsibility for any opinions that may be expressed in this podcast. Opinions expressed in this podcast do not constitute or imply an endorsement or a reflection of the library's policies or beliefs. This is Michael Werner, wishing you well until our next episode of Books and Beyond.